The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Right now, Steve, we're going to say hello to Casey. Casey Helt, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's the first time I've seen your name in print. Am I pronouncing the last name properly?
You are, yes, perfect.
Like I held it in my hand?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Licensed funeral director. Once again, I'm always amazed. I don't know why I think that a licensed funeral director should be wearing a pointy hat and have a witch's cauldron. I don't know why, but you are all attractive, powerful, intelligent women. Over there at Farone Son. So
yes.
that has to make people feel
That's quite
better.
a mouthful, Tom.
How does one get into this business? What made you want to go this direction?
So I actually originally graduated from culinary school.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
It does.
Now I get the connection.
It's a definite connection.
So after
So where'd you go to culinary school?
Onondaga Community College.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah.
So
Okay,
just
that's
a
fabulous.
basic, something to get
The
me
basic,
off my feet.
I'm becoming a chef.
Right.
You can fry a hamburger. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Then you decided you don't want food anymore.
I just decided it wasn't something I wanted to do as a career.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Still
Did you
very
ever-
passionate, but
Did you work in the restaurant industry for a little bit? or-
briefly, just
Yeah.
nothing
Enough
big.
to make her want to know she doesn't want to do that for a living.
I get you.
Briefly,
Yeah.
and then I tried nursing school for a little bit,
Yeah.
and that was definitely not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad was like, "You should look into mortuary school. I think you would be good at that."
Wow.
She's a father recommended. Of course, my father always said, if you always want to be employed, go into the funeral business.
Yeah, so he actually used to be the vault person in the cemeteries, and
wow.
so he had a connection.
I see. That's why there was a connection.
So he
Back
knew
in
the
the day.
business. He knew probably a lot of the people.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Way back in the day, of course.
Sure,
but
sure.
he told me to get into it, and at the time, Simmons was a school in
Yes,
Syracuse.
very familiar.
I remember
with it,
that.
yeah.
And I applied, and by the time I applied, they were closing.
Oh, so
So-
where'd you have to go?
I ended up in SUNY Canton,
Okay.
which is
Far away.
about 30 minutes from Canada.
You're up there.
Yeah.
You got to be loving skiing and snow cones when you're up there, right?
Well, I did a pretty intense course load so I could finish my bachelor's degree in 2 years. So
wow.
I really did not have a whole lot of time for fun.
Golly, yeah, that's tough. So you have to have a full bachelor's degree to be in
You
this.
don't. It just happened to correlate between the two schools that I
Okay.
ended up with one without
You have to be
trying.
very, very intelligent young lady. I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So then what?
So then I, just like a doctor, you have to do a residency when you get started. So I jumped into a residency at a couple places, ended up working for one place for 10 years, and
Oh,
then
wow.
I needed a change of scenery, and I ended up with the Ferrons.
Okay, why the Farones? Let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Farones. So we know them, and they're friends at this point, of course. Why the Farones? I mean, there's a lot of established
Been around
places
since
around.
1911.
Yeah. So
Well, so back when I was at my old employer, the Ferons would help us out occasionally.
I see.
And then I knew Juliana from school. She graduated she's a little younger than me.
Yep.
And then I was just thinking one day, I need someone who can accommodate part-time. I am a mom first and a funeral director second.
Great.
And I needed someone who would be willing to work with me in my schedule. And they're a great family. I've heard nothing but great things about them. So I reached out to Juliana, and it just, the stars aligned. It just happened they were looking for help at the same time I was looking to get out.
right. So what do you do?
I am mainly an embalmer there and help Vinny most of the time.
We know Vinny.
Yes. So I mainly follow him around and do what he asks of me. I'll occasionally meet a family, but most of my time is spent in the back.
Right. So why do you think people choose Ferron? I mean, they do have a lot of choices, Tom, locally.
Well, it's a local choice for a lot of our families in the city. A lot of people want regionally something close. but also tradition. I've noticed a lot of families come in and they tell me the long history of you took care of my uncle, my brother, my cousin, and they keep coming back because the Ferrones make them feel like family.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. I was over there for some calling hours a couple weeks ago, and the place is just exquisite. We were at the one on Taft Road, and I've been in the other location down there in the city, but the Taft Road location, it just feels like someplace. It's always a little awkward. You go in, you're like, I'm sorry, you're not quite sure what to say, but the room is very comfortable. It almost feels like it was made to have a conversation.
It's very modern. It doesn't have that, the Park Street is very traditional and elegant, and Taft is a little more modern, and like you said, harbors more coziness, if you will, compared to the traditional funeral home setting.
Right. So dealing with people in crisis, always, we were just having a conversation earlier this week about pre-planning. Should people of course, it's one of those rhetorical questions. They should pre-plan. Why should people pre-plan and not just let it happen when it happens?
So as someone who has lost their mother, I wish she would have pre-planned a little more. I felt like towards the end I could tell it was getting to that point, and I had so many questions left unanswered that I felt a lot of pressure to make things right for her, and I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. And as soon as she passed away, like the next week I was at the house with my dad, and I'm like, I'm not having this happen again.
Oh, wow, right.
So I want to know all of it. I want to know what you want. And for me, personally, the value I see in it is peace of mind. When it comes to your end, you know that at least that's one thing you can control ahead of time. And leaving it up to your family is very stressful because it leaves a lot of unanswered questions. Can be really challenging, and it can cause a complicated grief along, making sure that person's wishes are met.
Right. So it's. I know my mom has planned with Ferron, and she's like, to her it's a party, Tom. But she's not going to be the one with the lampshade on her head. But and I say that, and mom has a great outlook. She loves the Lord. She knows the Lord. She's not concerned about those things. She just wants people to be able to celebrate her life and her friends and things like that. And that's kind of what happens, right?
Yeah, that's the way I, how I looked at it when she passed. It's a celebration of the person who they were, and all the love is in that room with them. Like, to me, that's important to have a ceremony for that. And so many people do want it to be a somber event, and it can be somber, but it can also be a celebration all in one.
Right.
Yeah. Is it ever safe to embalm before you pass away?
We haven't gotten that question yet. Walk-ins aren't an option yet.
So you can't pre-plan that far ahead.
No. Though I did know some people on the radio that drank too much.
Yes,
Tom.
They were semi-embalmed.
Let's not name names right now. In the pre-planning, the process. So, what's your favorite part about being part of the Farone family? I'm going to say Ferron family because that's who they are to me.
Yeah, my favorite part about there is I feel like part of the family. Like, they just kind of bring me in on a lot of the decision making, and they take my opinions on things behind the scenes sometimes if need be. And I also love introducing them to some new things too, because they do have their traditions.
Yep.
But when I can get Vinny outside of the box a little bit here and there, it's just exciting.
Well, that's the next generation, Vinny and Marie, and you're right, they are family. I'll like send a text to Marie just to be like, if I find a bad picture of her, I'll send it to her. It's like family. Yeah. But Farone Son Inc.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.